I'm Will Hedrick.
And I'm Jordan Schaffer.
And this is Dog Ears and Timestamps, a book club podcast.
And we didn't get to read last week. We didn't have a book.
We didn't.
Well, we get to pick one.
Or for us, we don't get to read in the coming week.
Yeah, I know. But
because this is a half hour after you last heard from us.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert, the Patriots won.
Are you looking forward to the wedding?
Yeah. It's going to be a lot of fun.
It's in Shiner, right? Or
no, it's in Hallettsville, which is right next to Shiner.
Yeah. My buddy Chris was from Hallettsville. It's a small little town. I think they had like...
you drive through it. I would drive through it whenever I would come visit you on College Station.
Yeah. I think they have like 1st through 12th grade like in the same building. Like, I'm not even... Yeah. I'm not trying
like
to
every small town in Texas. Yeah.
Which is kind of cool. I've never even thought about that as like an experience. I wonder what that's like, dude, going to school with like just like every grade right there, like all those ages. Like,
that's my dad. That's how Portland was back then.
Dude, your dad's stories about East Cliff are funny. Like,
yeah.
The elementary school we both went to. Actually, Will and I met in 1st grade. We're friends forever. But at our elementary school, Will's dad actually went to also, and it was just funny because like growing up around there, you know, we had friends that lived in the neighborhood right around it, and Will's dad is talking about it, and he was like, "Yeah, that used to just be cow pastures, and we would go out and we'd mess with the cows and stuff."
Right? Yeah, they would just throw rocks over the fence at cows.
There was like a barbed wire fence, keeping the kids away, like. Right. And then now they tore that thing down. We don't have our East Cliff anymore.
The library is still there.
Oh, cool.
Which is the original building too.
Oh, dope.
At least that's what my dad had always said.
Dude, we need to go to a library sometime. How long has it been since you've been to a library?
I went on Thursday when I went to vote.
Oh, never mind. Did you do any library
I didn't do any
stuff?
actual library stuff. I just walked in, voted, and then left.
Oh, okay.
I thought about going in just to check out what was going on in the library so that I would know what it was, how it was laid out if I'd ever decided to go back. But I already had other errands on my mind at that point.
Dude, yeah, I haven't been to the library with like the ambition of like a child's like the wonder of a child.
Yeah,
running around looking for a new book, judging things by the covers or the titles or whatever I read. I haven't done that in so long.
I don't have that mindset for like anything anymore. Everywhere that I go, there's a mission at hand. I'm going to the grocery store for these specific items. I'm going to the department store for a new shirt. I'm going to don't ever go to an electronics store because I work at one. But if I was going to an electronics store, it would be for the purpose of buying the new video game or whatever it is, Yeah. There's no going to a place without the clear objective and needing to get out of there as quickly as possible because there's another adult objective after that.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I can't do it this week. I'm leaving on Thursday, but one of my next days off, I need to just go spend some time at the library and see. I haven't done any of that.
It's always surprisingly, you forget how refreshing it is to just do nothing and enjoy having nothing to do at a location, whether it's going to the park and relaxing, or probably going to a library is probably also pretty sweet, or even probably, I think not the last time, but there was one time in the last like 6 or 7 years that I went to the mall just to, I had things that I needed to buy, but I wasn't in a hurry. I took the time to look at a couple of other stores and just like kind of like, bullshit at Spencer's like we used to when we were kids going to the mall and stuff like that, seeing all this stupid shit. And I was like, that was way more fun than I was anticipating having today.
Yeah, just went like shopping for fun. That's cool. Yeah, I haven't I don't know. It's like they say, like, do the dishes to do the dishes. Like, you do the thing, you stay focused on that task, and it makes it more fulfilling, I think, and that's probably what you got when you're going around the mall. Just like you were at the mall to like shop at the mall. You were there for Will, treat yourself.
As opposed to like, fuck, I gotta go to the mall and pick up this thing right quick,
Like I gotta go pay my bill at Victoria's Secret.
What? Is that a thing people do?
Yeah, no, if you get a Victoria's Secret card, I hear about that a little bit. Yeah, man, the library in Portland, the last time I was in Portland, actually, it was really cool because I didn't go in the library. I don't know why I didn't, but I went to the library, and then I went to, because they still have the old library, like the historic library there, and it was just fun looking in there. It was just talking about how, like, I think 3 old ladies just ran the library, and it was just like a collection of books that people donated and books they had, and it's probably like the honor system, It just please return the books. It was cool. It was a small little building, dude. It was small. Yeah. It's smaller than like my kitchen.
You can barely walk around it.
Yeah, it's tiny, man. And it was cool though, because like every wall was a bookshelf. It had two windows. It was just a basic plain Jane square building.
I don't think I've ever been inside it, but I know it.
Well, yeah, I just went up and I creepy peeked through the windows. I put so my handprints are on the windows, but just the side of my hands. They'd have to get the DNA or the side of my palm print to get me.
I think the last time that I went to a library and utilized it for any library purpose, not even necessarily like checking out a book or something. I think the last time that I went to a library for a purpose was I went there to meet someone, our friend Hadley, and she taught me something in math that I wasn't getting. So we were doing like studying stuff there. And that was the last time that I used a library for a library purpose.
Yeah, dude. Even in college, when we'd go like, hey, let's study at the library, we didn't use the books in the library. We just like the library was basically
quiet space.
Well, dude, it wasn't even fucking quiet, man. Like the bottom floor. Yeah, the bottom floor.
Anytime I went to the library at A&M Corpus, it was just another milling area.
Yeah, it's just jam packed with people at tables. They got computers everywhere. I'm so glad they got rid of the Dewey Decimal System. That shit was like that would have taken forever. Yeah, I mean, there are computers everywhere. It's not just for searching books. It's for, like, Facebook.
It's for... I'm just kidding. It's like typing... Yeah, especially out of college, I would have to go to the library to print out stuff sometimes. Yeah. And that was, that pain in the ass to do that.
Yeah, that's what it was. It was just, like, a place you print and a place you get, like, Starbucks and like, do your homework. Like, we didn't... I never really got a book from the library, which I guess is
it's like a cross between, a Starbucks and a Kinko's.
Yeah. Yeah, man, we need to go. We need to just hit up the library.
Yeah, really should. I want to go to the new Central Branch Library here in Austin.
What
in downtown.
Oh, okay.
It's like brand new. Ooh. It's getting talked about nationwide because it's like an incredible building or something like that. And there's a bar inside of it.
That's like the college library, but
it's just Austin, man. Austin is just such a drinking city. You can't go anywhere and not be able to find something to drink.
I know. Well, that's cool. We got to go.
Yeah, I definitely do want to go and check it out.
I think the last time I went in any book type place and just sat around and read was kind of when we went to Half Price Books, and we the first time for the pilot.
Yeah, we were just going through the books trying to find something.
Yeah, that was fun. I mean, we went in looking for a set number of books and set titles of books. Couldn't find any of them, and then we were just like, all right, let's just instinct will guide us,
Right. Yeah.
and then we found some good ones. Well, a good one and an okay one. So far, we got 2 left that we'll get back to eventually, but. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's kind of what was a little bit different about this time. We didn't go anywhere. We've been kind of doing digital or audio files for the books, so it kind of didn't really make sense to go buy a book at Half Price Books this time. So we did a little bit of just online research, trying to find something. Yeah, I feel guilty about not going to the library because they do. You can check out audiobooks and stuff at the library, and I think you can even check out Kindle books and stuff at the library, probably especially at that new hipster library you're talking about. You can take your Kindle. The libraries don't cost money, right? Like, that's the beauty of it, is you just get your card, and it's unless you have a late
and
fee.
You have like whatever the due date is and stuff like that, and then you just pay whatever your monthly fee is for having the membership.
Oh, you have to pay for a membership?
Yeah.
Oh, dude, I thought I just got a library card when I was little.
It's because your parents paid for it.
Oh, there you go. That's why those guys did it. Okay. Well, I didn't know that because I still have.
Maybe kids would get free library cards. Maybe.
I'd like to think that. That'd be.
I would imagine so. That seems like the right thing.
Yeah, I know, dude. Do you remember book fairs?
Hell yeah,
I think we talked about those a little bit last.
I would buy
episode a
book every book fair. That was usually where I would get the next Redwall book on my list.
Dude, I would always buy books at those book fairs, man.
I would usually come away with 2.
Yeah, at least. I remember I bought a book on how to draw manga. It's like how to draw chibi anime characters, and it's like I only learned how to draw like one character, and now I don't know what I'm doing. But
right, I spent a lot of time perfecting Saiyan hair.
Yeah, I know, that's the fun thing. Dude,
and then I would just draw shitty stick figures with Saiyan hair.
Yeah, and unfortunately we missed a book fair that they were having in Austin this last weekend. But
we were thinking about going to one that was going on in the downtown area on Saturday. But the things like we talked about last week, the thing happened with your dog getting lost. And it's like, okay, well, we'll just have to skip it. We're busy with this stuff.
Yeah,
but that happens. I'm sure there will be another literary event in our future. There's all sorts of shit that happens in Austin all the time.
It'd be fun to meet some local Austin. Well, I don't know if it was local authors, but it'd be fun if there were any local authors. I think the author for Ready Player One is from Austin.
Yeah,
so,
he is.
What's his name? Ernest Cline, I think.
That sounds right.
Yeah,
I don't know.
That book is
I haven't read it.
And the movie was really good too, man. Like they had to take some liberties with it, make it different, the time and the
like every translation.
Yeah, but dude,
or adaptation.
Yeah, going in with the mindset of like it's not the exact same, and just watch. Dude, that was a good movie. And the book, the book is one of those ones that like I listened to it. It was so good. I listened to it again, and I'm pretty sure I did it again. It was so good, man.
People that I tend to have aligned tastes with don't like that book.
Really?
So
that's a bummer.
I think that at some point I will get myself to read it because it's such a pivotal book in the subculture that I'm a part of.
No, I get it. I have bad taste. I get it.
But no, yeah, it's so quintessential to my stupid subculture of, general nerd and geek stuff that
Geek Squad.
I should probably read it at some point just to have been a part of this touchstone in, the society that I subscribe to.
It's fun. There are just a lot of references that were probably from the author's time, in gaming and not from ours. There's a lot of references to like old games, like those adventure games where it'll be like you have 5 different options. It's like go north, go south, go east, go west, or go in the house in this forest.
Yeah, like text adventure stuff. Like
exactly.
Dragon Quest and
and it's got a lot of references to those. It's got reference to this one game, Joust.
Joust is great. I used to play Joust all the time.
Yeah, well, okay, so then maybe you'd love it. It's got a lot of those kind of references. It's a fun book though. I really really enjoyed it, and it kind of plays on the idea of like I like the idea that the reason we haven't come into contact with aliens is because once they discovered how to create like a perfect VR, who needs to go anywhere? You know what I mean? You can just go anywhere in your room.
Oh, I totally subscribe to the belief. The second that like we get like full dive simulation VR, I'm going to hopefully by that time have saved up enough money to never have to work again, and then I'm never going to see anybody in person again.
Yeah, well, you'll just see Will's avatar.
Yeah. If you want to hang out, we're going to hang out in the Oasis. Yeah, that's what it's called, right?
Exactly. Yeah. It was kind of funny. There was a point in the book where this isn't really a spoiler, but like he programmed his like system that let him into the, what did you just call it? Just in one ear out the other. The Oasis. That would let him in and out of the Oasis. He pre-programmed it to make it so that he had to do like a 30-minute workout because he was just getting fat and lazy. Like in, what was that movie? Freaking. The Disney Pixar movie. Why can't I remember with the Wall-E?
Wall-E.
Yeah, like Wall-E. Yeah. Anyway, that was just
maybe sometime that can be like one of our one-off episodes where we read that book, and then if I like it, then we can both talk about how great it was, and if I don't like it, then we can argue about it.
And I'll reread it right next to you, man, dude. I would read that one again.
But for this coming series of episodes, we have decided to continue diversifying, where we did a modern fantasy, and then we did a sci-fi, and now we're going to continue to go from genre to genre rather than retreading anything similar.
So we're going to do romance and psychology, I think were the 2 we decided on this week.
Yeah, one of them is a dissertation on... I can't even finish this.
Couldn't even finish the joke.
I was not prepared for coming up with a joke that quickly.
No, I'm just teasing, guys.
Yeah. It's either going to be horror or mystery.
Exactly, yeah. That would be awful if we made you guys read a dissertation.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we ended up going with the classic Salem's Lot. We just learned it's about 40 years old, and the Stephen King.
It's his second novel.
The second novel.
After Carrie.
Which is awesome. And then we're also, so for our mystery, we chose Arthur and George. So Will pulled up the little description on those guys. So let's go with, which one do you want to go over first?
We'll go over Arthur and George first, I suppose. Okay. So Arthur and George, novel by Julian Barnes. Fairly recent. It only came out in 2005.
Oh, cool.
But what it is it's based on an actual series of events that was happening in Victorian England, which ended up being... So when Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, the author of the Sherlock Holmes series, started becoming famous for his books, people were writing him, asking him to solve mysteries, murder cases that were happening, and things like that. And every now and then he would oblige, apparently, or at least just provide his input, what he thought was going on.
It's like the real life castle.
And this was one that he famously helped solve.
Cool.
And so what this book is about, it's a take on that story, the thing of actually happening where he helps it. So that's why it's called Arthur and George, Arthur Conan Doyle, and his friend, I guess, George
Watson.
So here's this is the little the hook that Amazon has for it. As boys, George, the son of a Midlands vicar, and Arthur, living in a shabbily genteel Edinburgh, find themselves in a vast and complex world at the heart of the British Empire. Years later, one struggling with his identity in a world hostile to his ancestry, the other creating the world's most famous detective while in love with a woman who is not his wife, their fates become inextricably connected. In Arthur and George, Julian Barnes explores the grand tapestry of late Victorian Britain to create his most intriguing and engrossing novel yet.
Wow.
This is apparently like one of the top-rated mystery novels. It's one that comes up in lists of novels that mystery fans can't miss, that sort of headline.
Yeah.
But I like that it is based on a real person who is the basis of all tropes in mystery series, Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. And it's based on something that he actually did, which was related to his work. There's just a lot of connected parts in what this is about. Does
it say it's a true story, or it's based on like true events that happened?
It's based on the true events of him solving an actual mystery that happened.
The mystery might not be real.
There will be liberties taken for the sake of making this a single novel that is a good story for the purposes of it being a novel,
Well, that sounds awesome.
As opposed to just like literally reading the newspaper.
Okay, and I think we were talking about this a little earlier. You've read a Sherlock Holmes book, right?
I've read a few.
Okay.
They're all, I shouldn't say all, because I haven't read all of them, so I don't know that they're all this way, but the majority of them, at least that I know, every one that I read, are all relatively short, easy reads.
Okay.
A lot of them are really good for young readers. A lot of them were books that my mom had read. My mom showed me a lot of different books, or at least suggested several books whenever I was big on reading as a kid, and I was reading constantly. Yeah, she still is to this day, reads all the time. And so she would suggest different books to me here and there, and I would either take the suggestion or I wouldn't. There was several that I turned down for whatever reason.
Because moms are dumb. I'm just kidding.
But there was a lot that I did take, and almost every time they were really good. I liked Watership Down a lot. Hound of the Baskervilles is a Sherlock Holmes book that I really enjoyed.
Oh, cool.
There's a couple of others that I read as well. So I am definitely interested in this.
So, do you feel like you know a little bit just about like Arthur Conan Doyle himself, just from like his writing, or I mean, because honestly, to be honest, I've read a lot of Stephen King stuff. So
of the two of us, I think that I would say that I'm definitely more familiar with it, but I have not read enough to be confident in saying anything about it.
Yeah. That's really cool, man. I can't believe that like they were just so impressed with like his. Dude, it's got to take almost like a sicko to come up with a mystery murder novel. You know what I mean? Like to come up with these like creative like ploys. It's almost like they're just like,
especially when there's not. And
I'm not calling him.
He must have had some sort of like inspiration to some degree, but like mystery novelists pull inspiration from him now. What did he pull inspiration from? There wasn't anything to the degree that authors these days, or even in the past 80 years, have that he didn't have any of that.
Yeah, dude, it's just a funny idea to me thinking about like, because like the only people that sit around and think about murders are murderers, like how to get away with a murder is a murderer and a novelist writing a book like a mystery, and it takes a character, and if that's and that's what he's known for, so it's got to be something, worth something. Like that sounds really interesting. Like, especially because I can't believe, I already said I can't believe that they got an author to come in and be like their key, their expert. But that's super cool. I mean, yeah, that's awesome, man. And do we know any more about George, or he was the one?
Not from just this like excerpt. We could probably find out more about it.
Okay,
and if this ends up being the one that we choose, then we'll definitely look into it a bit more so that we have more context going into it.
Yeah, we'll learn a lot. Well, that sounds cool, man. Anything else you think you want to add? Like, I mean, it does have a good rating on Amazon.
Anyways, the other option, going horror, is a Stephen King novel, the king of modern horror.
Yeah, the Stephen I'm just kidding. But no, I love Stephen King.
It's true.
Go on. I haven't read this one, so I need any sort of info.
You definitely being the Stephen King fan of the two of us. I haven't read any Stephen King novels.
Yeah, dude, he's good. He a little.
There's a reason everybody knows his name.
Well, yeah, a little caveat about his writing. He likes to elaborate about something, and he'll go on and on and on, and it doesn't seem like it's important, and then right at the end, it's always important. So that'll be fun trying to pick that up.
They call that a Chekhov's gun.
Chekhov's gun?
Yeah, it's a storytelling trope where they introduce something that seemingly doesn't matter, or they put a lot of effort into it, and you're like, why does this matter? And then it has to matter at the end.
Of course. Yeah. But he does a good job disguising it too, because he'll explain like a bunch of stuff around the thing that's going to matter, and then like a small little piece plus creative thinking ends up making all that info he gave you earlier relevant. So it's fun watching it all come together at the end. Sometimes it's a little frustrating, but you know. Anyway, so please tell us about Salem's Lot.
Salem's Lot. Here's the story overview coming from the Barnes & Noble website.
All right.
Ben Mears has returned to Jerusalem's Lot in hopes that exploring the history of the Marsden House, an old mansion long the subject of rumor and speculation, will help him cast out his personal devils and provide inspiration for his new book. But when two young boys venture into the woods, and only one returns alive, Mears begins to realize that something sinister is at work. In fact, his hometown is under siege from forces of darkness far beyond his imagination, and only he, with a small group of allies, can hope to contain the evil that is growing within the borders of this small New England town. With this, his second novel, Stephen King established himself as an indisputable master of American horror, able to transform the old conceits of the genre into something fresh and all the more frightening for taking place in a familiar, idyllic locale.
Wow. That description was pretty epic, kind of. Like the way he wrote it, it's almost like Stephen King wrote that.
Right. Maybe he did. No. Probably.
Dude, if he is the narrator for this book, I'm going to shoot myself. He is the worst narrator. No
is he really?
Oh, yeah. No offense to StephenKing, but his voice is just... It's a little like...
I imagine that he just kind of drones.
It's drony, but it's in a very bad tone. You know, it's like a little too high-pitched, and it's a little too drony, and it's like... Ugh.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I tried to listen to his, like... he wrote, like, an in-between book for the Dark Tower series. It's, like, in between book 4 and 5 or something. It's The Wind Through the Keyhole or something. I don't even remember. But I tried to listen to it, and it was narrated by King, and I was just like, ooh, man... I can't do this. I love your other narrator too much, and it's cool. He got the same narrator for a lot of books. It's like him and this guy had a lot. I don't know. They either had a deal or they were buddies or something. But he narrated like the first 5 of the Dark Tower series, and he narrated a whole bunch of other Stephen King books, and then he ended up passing away. So somebody else finished them off. But
I like when that sort of stuff happens in media, where an author will have the same narrator, or will have the same artist do all the cover arts.
Yeah.
Or like a director works with the same actors over and over again. Or like
Adam Sandler.
Yes, where Adam Sandler's just having fun with his friends. That's all those movies are.
Good for him.
He's like, hey, let's go hang out in Venice today. Dude, we'll make a movie while we're there.
He must be working his ass off too, though, because he makes like 3 or 4
movies a year. He's turning those things out. He's definitely on a lot of levels just having fun with his friends, but he's working for sure.
Yeah, and anyway, enough about Adam Sandler.
Or like Quentin Tarantino pretty much always has the same stunt chick, the chick that does stunts for the main heroines of his films is almost always the same girl.
Tim Burton and
Johnny Depp and Helena Bonham Carter.
Thank you. I was going to say, and Bellatrix. I couldn't remember her name.
Well, Tim Burton and Helena Bonham Carter are married, so.
He's got her playing some weird roles.
But they're both weirdos.
Yeah, I bet Tim Burton's probably a fun character. He should be in a book. I don't know, man. I'm always partial to Stephen King. I love Stephen King.
I am equally excited about both of these, I think.
Yeah.
And then we were talking about this a little bit before we started recording, but I think what we're going to do, at least the thought that we have right now, and obviously this could change by the time we finish whichever book we choose, is that the one that doesn't get chosen today just becomes the next one.
Yeah,
for the sake of continuing to hop genres, both of these sound like really excellent options for their own, representation of their genre. So what we're thinking right now is that it makes sense to just do the next one the other one just ends up being the next series of episodes.
Yeah, I think that'd be cool.
As excited as I am for both of them, we're going to get to both of them. I just don't know which one is now.
Yeah. I mean, dude, honestly, for me, I've never read it's not that I've never read a mystery. I think I've read mysteries, but from other authors that aren't necessarily known for like mystery writing.
Well, you've read, and this was also something we were discussing earlier. You've read a few Stephen King novels, right?
Mm-hmm. Mr. Mercedes is one that is that's like a mystery, you know, mm-hmm. and that was fun. But
well, see, and I guess what I was getting at, if you having read several Stephen King novels are primarily horror. Some mm-hmm. of them aren't. As we were going through a list of Stephen King novels, we found some of them were like full-on fantasy and stuff like that.
Yeah, there's always typically like a thriller moment too, though, where mm-hmm. it makes you scared and you're kind of sweating with the main character or whatever.
Yeah, but by its nature, horror will have a mystery element to it.
That's true.
Whether it's not like a deep mystery, it's just surface-level mystery for the sake of having a twist for, you know, whatever the next thrill of the horror is or whatever. It just inherently will have a mystery element to it. So... I guess to what you were saying, where while you haven't read like a true mystery, you are not unfamiliar with the idea of a mystery, you know? Which sort of the same for me. I haven't read a ton of horror books. Generally speaking, I move away from horror stuff just because of what it means in modern terms, where it's all like too scary. I don't like scary stuff. I think I would be fine reading it because I can control the pace of that, but I don't like watching scary movies. I don't like scary games. I don't like being scared. I don't know why people like being scared. It just stresses me out. I don't want to be stressed.
It's a weird emotion, yeah. It brings a lot out of you. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just the fact that you're scared in a controlled environment, so it's safe,
and that's
still
something
scary,
that apparently I was... so it's October, and so naturally a bunch of media outlets and sources will go onto like a horror theme for the stuff that they're putting out. Mm-hmm. And one of the podcasts that I listened to was exploring the idea of horror movies and why people like horror movies, mm-hmm. blah, blah. And apparently the people who suffer from anxiety to severe levels tend to like horror movies and horror genre stuff more than people without those issues. And so there's been a couple of studies happening as to what that is, why it's that way, trying to make sense of that tendency. And what they have found, you know, in the studies, obviously nothing's conclusive in this fact. It's just all, you know, theorizing. Yeah. But they've come to the conclusion that what it could be is that because it's a controlled anxiety, because you know it's something that's not actually happening. Yeah. And it gets resolved to some degree. You can experience the resolution of that anxiety, whereas in real life anxiety, you might not get a resolution to that. So you can experience having a relief from something that you deal with all the time, and that feels great. Where in your normal life you might never get relief from that anxious feeling that you have for whatever, you know, real life issue you're dealing with.
That's interesting, man. You get
which does not apply to me.
Yeah, you get the closure.
I get pretty bad anxiety about a lot of stuff. I mean, we've talked about it even before previously on the podcast. So when we were going through Neverwhere, I said that I was out one evening with some friends, and then I felt an anxiety attack come on. So I went home and just that was the night that I was reading. So, yeah, I mean, I get, like, anxiety attacks periodically and stuff like that, and watching horror films and playing horror video games, I do not appreciate any sort of relief from any anxiety that those induce.
Dude, especially
so I don't get that theory, even though that's apparently a reigning theory in studies that are happening, so it just doesn't apply to me.
Dude, especially not horror games, because I get so invested in the game. Like,
did you ever play Dead Space?
No, I watched Kenneth play some Dead Space, but...
The game is fucked up.
It's just dark. Spooky.
And Silent Hill 2, one time Reed asked me to play... He was playing Silent Hill Homecoming. Yeah. And then he was going out of town, and something happened with his save or something like that, so he asked me to get up to where he was while he was out of town, so that when he came back, he could just continue on. And I was like, okay, I'll try it, dude. I played that game for like 5 seconds, and then I texted and I was like, it's not fucking happening, dude.
No, it's never gonna happen, man.
He was like, okay, well, I get it.
Dude, yeah, I don't know why Reed liked scary games, because he hated scary movies. But, I don't know, I guess
it is a different experience. And then, like with everything, everybody has their own, you know, deal with everything.
Yeah, I enjoy scary movies. I really like them. Yeah, I think I'm more partial to Stephen King, just going for the Salem's Lot. But that's the one I'm looking forward to more, I think, than the other one.
If you're more excited about Stephen King, and I'm equally excited about both, and we're thinking we're going to get to the other one anyways. Mm-hmm. Why don't we just go ahead and ride your excitement into Salem's Lot?
Cool, I'm down.
Okay.
Awesome. Yeah, it's do you know how long the book is? Did it say on the wiki or Amazon or anything?
Let's see.
I want to say it's in like the 400 on the pages.
What we're going to do is read the prologue, which is very short. It's like 13 pages. We're going to read through chapter 3. So stop at chapter 4 on this edition of the book. That's about 87 pages.
Yeah, that'll be good. Get us into the mix of Stephen King's world. He likes to do a lot in Maine. It's in Maine, right?
It says it's in New England.
Oh, New England, my bad.
Well, the synopsis that we read said it was a New England town. I'm sure it'll tell us what state it is in at one point.
Okay.
But yeah, so we're gonna read up to chapter 4, and we'll see you guys next week with that.
Yeah, enjoy Salem's Lot, and happy reading.
I'm Will Hedrick.
And I'm Jordan Schaffer.
See you next week.